Alright, hello all to another Rise of the Mid-Tier character breakdown. I'm GGA Jeremiah, and today I'm coming at you with the Scorpion buffs. You can download this on Nexus Mods, just look for Rise of the Mid-Tier, and then there will be a link in the description where to download it, and also a link to a video on how to install it, in case you're curious. Alright, let's get started with the flagship Mortal Kombat character, Scorpion. The TLDR for him, as you can see in the patch notes there, is better damage, faster EX teleport, both versions air and grounded. He's got a mini rework of Hellfire, and he's got improved down pokes. And then overall, Scorpion is a well-rounded character. He's going to have good damage. Teleport is excellent, getting around zoning, getting in, being plus on block for a bar of meter. He's got a little bit of zoning. He's got a little bit of everything, and now with these down poke improvements, you know, he's got a little bit of everything. And the overview for Scorpion here is all his fire moves are improved. So if any move has a fire effect on it, it gets extra properties. So look for extra damage, extra chip, different startup. Something is improved if it's a fire move, because he's been training since 2011. He's been working on his fire. Alright, let's get into the normals here. 111, one of his big strings here. Chip on the last hit goes from 1.5% to 3.5%. And the hitbox improved from 1.5 to 2.1. Like that hits now. It's not perfect on hit. You know, sometimes it'll whiff. But it's much better for air juggles now and stuff like that. So 111 is pretty nasty. If you happen to, like, let's say here, anti-air. And if you're, let's see here. Or, you know, something like this. It'd be something like this. Right into there. Safe jump. 29%, not bad. And then this really gets dirty with some corner damage as well now. Alright, we have 114. Can now cancel into specials. So Scorpion now has a 3-hit string that he can hit confirm. Before he would anything, he'd have to get 2 hits and hit confirm. But this one, he now gets 3 hits. Now this is the 4 is considered a launcher. So like 1-1 spear lets you do a neutral jump for a pop-up for big damage. This one won't, because that counts as a launcher there. So this will splat now. So the damage isn't the greatest because you have to use that. You could the EX teleport just not good enough, and yeah, that won't. So you have to do that, which most likely you're going to want to do 4-2-1-4 into teleport, and then that gives you a safe jump. Let's just go over his options for the safe jump real quick. So you just hit with that. They have to block this jump and punch. So your options, you know, are like throw. You could do 2-1-2 as an overhead. You could do 2-1 takedown. You could do this new move with chip. You could go into pressure. You could down 4 low. You could put him in the 50-50 with that or that. You know, you got a lot of choices with his safe jump there. And do that anytime you end in regular teleport, you're going to get a safe jump to cross over. Alright, what else do we got here? We got his down 1s. Okay, so his down 1 is very good. It's a standard down 1. 6-frame startup, +1 against standing opponents, and -1 against ducking opponents. But right now, he gets +2 on hit for both versions. So now, this is now +3 on hit. And against ducking opponents, most people are -1. He'll be +1. So this really helps in like Johnny Cage pressure. He's now going to be +3. You know, so if Johnny Cage want to do 9-frame knee into 9-frame knee, you got a 6-frame option. Use your frames to get out of there. So it's a nice little buff for him there. All right, 2-1-2 is an overhead. Damage goes up from 9% to 12%, and chip goes up to 3%. It's unsafe, but because it ends in an overhead, you have the takedown mix there. You got a little bit of a mini mix. Alright, 2-1. Hitbox increased from 1.5 to 2.2, so this helps against like ducking Molinas and stuff like that. That should help. That used to whiff like crazy. Nice little quality of life there. Alright, 4-2-1-4 gets a lot of love here. This one is a fire move. This one, he gets full 5% chip on that one, on that last hit. The hitbox used to be a 2, now it's a 3. So now where the fire is, that will now hit. It used to like whiff if the fire hit sometimes. So improved hitbox. And then big damage here. Used to do 9%, now it does 15%. And there used to have a gap on block, that should be gone now. And it used to be around minus 15 on block. Now it's minus 13. It's got major pushback, as you can see, but like Johnny Cage's Shadow Kick will still punish it. Stuff like that, but you should be pretty safe against normals. Alright, 334, hitbox and change for 1.5 to 2.3. Better against Duck Block Molina. Alright. So, Scorpion mains will tell you this would often, occasionally miss on Molina. So that is better. And the damage increased from 7 to 9%. So now when you hit, like, usually you're going to try to hit confirm into spear. But this one is actually, this is a pretty tight hit confirm because both hits come out so fast. So if you happen to miss your hit confirm, that 2 extra % damage helps, brings it up to 15%. Not bad for having a very fast mid. I think it's 10 frames. Alright, and then we have the 3-3 as well. The extension used to be 20 units away from his foot. Now it's only 5, so I pulled it in closer to Scorpion. And the hitbox used to be the standard 1.5 size. I greatly increased it to 3.3. This also will help against ducking Molina and duck blocking Molina. Scorpions will tell you that would often whiff against her. Now it's better. And now that it's tucked in slightly to his body too, it also, if it happened to be jumping, it should be a little bit better at anti-airing. So this is mid-string, the 3-3-4. That's greatly improved now. He's got a pretty decent mid-string. Alright, the forward 3 is in a safe overhead. Hitbox used to be 1.5 standard. I increased it to 2.9, so now if the foot hits you, it should hit. And the startup used to be 26 frames, which is basically reactable, and now 23 frames. Hopefully it's a little faster. Also, it'll be a little bit better on whiff, you know, just in case you whiff it, you might be a little safer and stuff like that. But 11% on one hit, not bad. This is another safe jump option, too, if you happen to, like, get a safe jump. You know, you got a safe overhead right there, too, for 11%. Alright, down 3. Unfortunately, I could not find the hit advantage data byte for him. So, basically, I'm cheating it, and he can move 2 frames earlier on hit. So, the -7 on hit now is -5. But you're not really using this for the hit advantage. You're using it to interrupt the person. So, like, let's say Johnny Cage is about to do a forward 3, and you happen to hit him. He'll hit forward 3 and nothing will come out. Even though you're minus on hit, this is still usable, also because the animation is so fast. You know, you can try to sneak your turn back in, or you can do this, down 1, be +3, walk back, look for something. He's got better options now in his horrible down pokes. Alright, standing 4 is just 2% more damage. Goes from 5 to 7. Down 4, okay, this is another one of his bad down pokes. This down 4 used to have a 1.3 hitbox, so they were real scared about this. Standard size is 1.5. They were scared about his down 4 being too good, but as you can see, even with a 1.6 here, you know, it's pretty reasonable now. So that really helps his down 4, and because a takedown has a better hitbox, you know, his down 4 has a safe option now. And I could not find the data byte of hits on him. This is one of the... He's even on hit against standing opponents. So right now, you hit him with the down 4, we're even. And then crouching used to be -6. So now, at the very least, if he hits a standing opponent, he's +3. Basically +3, because he's moving sooner than he should. He's not getting more hit advantage, but he's just moving sooner. And against a ducking opponent, instead of it being -6, he's -3. But with the improvement to the hitbox on it and the hitbox on takedown, I think his down 4 is now in a decent place. Alright, specials. We are at the air throw here, and just 2% damage increase. So 16, that used to do 14. Jump kick into this used to do 14, but that sets up his new buffed enhanced fire EX fire. So that actually, his jump kick throw actually turned into 1 bar, you know, pretty good damage. 27%. Not bad. Alright, we're into the mini rework of Hellfire. Down back 2. It used to do, it used to be 68 frame duration on whiff, and now it's 57 frames, so you recover faster. Let's see if I can get her to, like, jump. So, like, back in the day, to see how fast you recover, now you recover, what, 11 frames faster? So it's safer to throw out. Then the startup, also, it used to be 22 frame startup, now it's 18 frame startup. But in order to compensate the opponent, because this is a very annoying move to deal with, we nerfed this here to be a low. So the standard Hellfire is a low. This is for the opponent's mental, because this move is just, he basically unblockable, gets you to jump, and then he also is very good at anti-airing. But this at least gives you, even though it's much faster and safer, you now can just duck block if you're getting annoyed with it. It's got slight pushback on block and builds a tick of meter as well. And then the dirt. The EX Hellfire remains unblockable, and the damage goes from 8% to 11%. So this is pretty nasty. But if he wants to make it unblockable, he's got to spend a bar now. Alright, takedown. Down back 4. Chip just increased from 1.1 to 1.5. And then the hitbox, this is big. The 1.3 to 1.8 hitbox increase. That helps, you know, stuff like this to actually connect now. And this is a safe low. So this is a special move you will be doing often. And EX takedown. Chip damage from 1.5 to 2. And then this one also gets the hitbox increase from 1.3 to 1.8. And then the damage is increased by 2%. So that used to do 14, now it does 16. And then sometimes Scorpion mains will tell you, sometimes when they do this armor against an advancing attack, you'll go through and you won't hurt the opponent. So I made it 3 frames active earlier. It turns on 3 frames earlier, so hopefully him warping through people without hurting them will happen less often now that it's active 3 frames earlier. Alright, Spear, backpack 1. His EX Spear has fire on it, so you know what that means. That means improved chip goes from 1.7 to 3%, and then damage goes from 7% to 9%. And it is an armored attack, so you get something like this. You'll have your 50-50 setup, 36% damage, and it's armored. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the data byte for how big it is, so it will randomly be a mid against some opponents, and like it'll be a high against Melina and stuff like that. But you've got a risky armor move that can lead to good damage. Alright, Teleport. EX Teleport has fire on it. So second hit, chip goes from 1.7% to 3%. And then on hit, this guy goes from 7% to 11%. And the startup, EX Teleport, first hit, so standing, because the first hit's a high. First hit used to hit in 23 frames. Now the first hit hits in 18 frames if you could do a point blank instant air. And then the grounded one used to be 35 frame startup for the first hit, and now it's 26 frames. And his, I don't know if he could do this in the original, but you can now, you can link, if you're good. If you're not bad like me. Alright, almost there. Huh. I wonder, could this be a Melina costume thing? Huh. That might be a Melina costume issue. I'll have to check that. But that normally you can link that into Hellfire if you're mid-screen. So I'll have to check that. But yeah, much greater teleport. This is it's still a high though. The first hit's a high, so good players will still, if they're ready, he'll spend a whole bar of meter and then you'll interrupt it with a down 1 or something. But it's much safer, and it's plus on block. Very nice move to have. And then the final change, X-Ray. Oh, let me, so like, one thing about his EX teleport, let me go over his EX teleport real quick. Because of this can lead to insane damage. So like, let's say Scorpion is cornered, knocked down, you know, you're against Johnny Cage, you're worried about pressure. You happen to do EX teleport, which has 20 frames of invincibility. You can do something like this. You know, and crossover, you know, cash out there, 51%, or do a safe jump setup into throw, which you most likely want to do unless you want to kill him. But Scorpion can now, in certain circumstances, get legit damage. And his X-Ray is 4% on block, and his X-Ray used to do 30%, now it does 36%. Unfortunately, I think his second and third hits scale like crazy, so if you want to combo into his X-Ray, you're still not going to be doing a ton of damage, but it's nice to have. And there you have it there. I am going to go ahead and put in some matches with my new Scorpion playing against GGA Waffles. And then let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like your breakdowns with no gameplay footage? Or do you appreciate maybe 1 or 2 matches at the end just to see all the changes come together? Let me know. If not, I will see you around in the next video.